it would be for Bayer Leverkusen on the road. They've got a great record away from home, a great run as well of games this season, another win under their belt, which is good news that it wasn't a draw. They do not want any more of those draws. It's a league high for them this season. Biggest talking point before the game was the fact that Patrick Schick was starting this clash.
And I tell you how happy Patrick Schick is today as compared to last weekend. Last weekend, when he was put in the game in the 92nd minute, they blow the whistle, game is over, he's straight into the locker room. People are making a big deal. Oh, no, he did not go to the fans and clap for the fans, so on and so forth. He's clapping for the fans today. He's out there today. Patrick Schick, while he's not a guy who's going to go press the ball and regain possession of the ball, he's not exactly a hard worker defensively. He is a guy that gives you goals offensively. I believe that what Xabi Alonso would want from him is, can you go and press the ball and lead that initial pressure the way that a guy like Nathan Tella did last week? And that's not in his profile. But Nathan Tella doesn't have the goals in his game like Patrick Schick does.
So is that not a tricky situation then for Xabi Alonso, knowing what you did against Bayern, knowing you're going to face them now in the Champions League and knowing how that played out because of the fact you used Nathan Tella, but then knowing what you were missing because of the fact that it was Tella instead of Schick?
Look, you can go back to Nathan Tella if you so desire. You can. That's the way you want to approach it, so be it. And if you can reproduce that sort of performance, and that also happens at the same time that Bayern Munich are really having a difficult game and a difficult match in which they cannot complete passes, because it's a combination of both. It's not just what Leverkusen did, it's also what Bayern Munich didn't do. I think there would be pressure on Xabi Alonso to understand that if he's going to go back to Nathan Tella, or that approach, whoever it may be, Nathan Tella or Amin Adli, whatever your choice is of a guy that can actually press the ball initially, don't take so long when you need a goal to bring Patrick Schick or Boniface, for that matter, off the bench. My real concern and my real issue with Xabi Alonso, once he made the decision to play in the manner in which he did, why do you take forever to bring a striker on that can score a goal in a game that you need to win? That's where I think he hung on too long. That's where I think he was being stubborn. And as I said in the pregame, I can recognize that very well.
One thing that's been the case this season ahead of Bayern's game against Frankfurt tomorrow for both Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen is they're not losing games this season. However, it's back to 5 points because of Bayer Leverkusen's win today. Obviously, Bayern Munich can take it back to 8 points if they can beat Frankfurt tomorrow. Even the extra point, and they're going to go back to 6 points. Are you so sure the title race is over? And what percentage would you give it of how sure you are it's over?
See, my opinion has no real weight or value when it comes to this sort of stuff. It's not because I say so. Xabi Alonso told us as much last week. It's unrealistic to think that they're going to get back into this title race. However, there was a pathway. And the pathway was winning last week, making that point differential, something that you cut into that lead, and then think about where you would be right now as Bayern Munich goes and plays Eintracht Frankfurt. Think about where the difference would be right now. And that's when the pressure really begins. Even if Bayern Munich lose to Eintracht Frankfurt tomorrow, the point differential is still 5 points. And you were still assuming that Bayer Leverkusen will be perfect from here on out. And that's what it's going to take for them to be perfect. And have they been perfect this season? The answer is no. So how sure am I? If Xabi Alonso is telling me that it's unlikely and he is the manager of Bayer Leverkusen, the team that is chasing, I'm going to take it a step further. It's more than unlikely. I think it's more of a certainty that Bayern Munich win this league. However, it doesn't mean that Bayer Leverkusen cannot go on and achieve important things this season. They may not win Bundesliga, but they may be set up for being a true, real player, impactful player in Champions League. And they could potentially play the final of Champions League at the Allianz Arena in Munich. Now, in order to do that, one of the things that you have to do is get past Bayern Munich, which is their next step.
Yes, it is. And that game coming up tomorrow, Bayern against Frankfurt. So we'll get a look at how Bayern are faring after that game last weekend, and especially knowing their fate in the Champions League right now. Let's hear from one of the goal scorers today, though. Amin Adli, now speaking to our team on the ground.
With a very mature and solid performance, Bayer Leverkusen won their match here in Kiel. Amin Adli, congratulations. And Amin Adli scored his first goal since May 2024. How big is the relief about that fact?
Yeah, for sure, I'm very happy. I was not actually thinking a lot about this today. First of all, I was coming back from a big injury. The most important was to stay healthy, try to play my best, to have rhythm. But for sure, I'm very happy to score again. It's very good for me, for my confidence. And yeah, hopefully for more until the rest of the season.
I mean, Bayer Leverkusen are now undefeated in their last 28 road games. That's a new Bundesliga record. How impressive is that fact?
Yeah, I think we are not thinking about that. We just play game after games and try to win all of them. But then we are making records. This is very nice. Us, we are not thinking about this. We don't talk about this in the locker room. We just try to, like last year, win games after games. And then for sure, if we can make history like this, it's every time nice for us.
Will you be watching the Bayern match tomorrow to see how things are going?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, we're going to look what Bayern is doing. We still believe in the league. Hopefully they can get some losses and make the league very tight. We are going to do in our way the best to be close to them, try to win every games, and then we will see at the end of the season.
Speaking of Bayern München, I mean, what do you think? What were your first thoughts about the Champions League draw?
Yeah, for sure. We played a lot against them this season. 2 games more. It's going to be very tight, very difficult game. We know Bayern is used to play Champions League. And for sure it's going to be a very big game like the 3 last games. And we are going to do our best to go through. But we know Bayern is a difficult opponent, even more in Champions League. But let's see, we're going to do our best to hopefully go through.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why they're going to be watching Bayern. They know they're facing them in the Champions League. I mean, Adley was actually fit last weekend. We saw that he was back in the squad. Here he is today. It is another piece for Xabi Alonso in this run that lies ahead.
And I mean, Ladley actually came off the bench last weekend before Patrick Schick did. And he was just coming back from injury. So, look, when I say that this would not have made me all that happy had I been Patrick Schick, it's an understatement. The other thing that I found interesting there is that he was very clear to make sure that he said, once it was mentioned that he hadn't scored since May 2025, said, I was injured, bro. I was injured. What do you want from me?
But do you feel that way? Because sometimes a stat will tell one story and it's like, well, that's because I've been injured as well.
Well, of course. And so he's just clarifying. I was out injured. How can I score if I was injured? And I'm not thinking about that. It's not what I'm trying to find a rhythm. I'm trying to get my minutes. I'm trying to get the touches in the ball. But when he's saying he's not thinking about it, he was thinking about it. And the fact that he's able to score today and see the ball going into the back of the net, that's also significant for his confidence, to believe and trust in his body once again. He wasn't fit. He was injured. Now he's fit. He's no longer injured and now productive once again for Bayer Leverkusen.
Patrick Schick was fit last week. Only got about a minute or so on the pitch. He got all the minutes he would have wanted today. Let's hear what he had to say after the game.
With a very solid performance, Bayer Leverkusen won their match here in Kiel. How much had the early goal set the tone for this match?
Always in these games, early goal helps a lot. So today was a good example because Kiel, they defended really well, and for us it wasn't easy to find the solutions. So yeah, we were lucky that we could score early goal and then a little bit controlling the game. But in general, we had to fight for 3 points a lot.
Patrick, Bayer Leverkusen are now undefeated in their last 28 away games. That's a new Bundesliga record. How impressive is that?
To be honest, we didn't think about that too much, or we didn't even speak about that. But it's a great number, and yeah, it's also nice to see that we perform also in away games.
Are you guys gonna watch the Bayern München-Frankfurt match tomorrow to see how things are going in the table?
Yeah, maybe we will watch the game, but yeah, 8 points is still a lot. But for sure, we made some pressure now at the moment. So yeah, we will hopefully has the fingers crossed for Frankfurt. But yeah, let's see.
Speaking of Bayern Munich, Patrick, what were your first thoughts when you heard about the Champions League draw?
I think, or like when we were talking in dressing room about the draw, we wanted to have Bayern again, and it's gonna be a great game for sure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Yeah, I wonder if when he saw that they've drawn Bayern Munich, he thought, I wonder if Xabi Alonso will actually start me in that game next time. Obviously, no questions about the fact that he was started today, but you would imagine he would have had something to say about that, Ale.
I imagine that there was a conversation. And I don't know how Xabi Alonso can stand his ground and actually say, you know what, I was right to keep you on the bench until the 91st minute in a game that we needed to win, and we needed goals. I don't really think that Xabi Alonso, other than him being stubborn, there is a reason that would make sense. And so how he packaged that conversation with Patrick Schick, because I imagine that there was a conversation, as I said before, that's where managing, and people don't see this as managing, but that's when managing makes a difference. While you can make tactical decisions in a game, changes, who comes in, who comes on, who comes off, whatever, how are you going to play, how are you going to set up the team, all those things we can see from afar and we can see from the outside. But the actual conversation in keeping Patrick Schick engaged to the point to where he starts today and scores a goal, that's also managing. And it's perhaps the most important part of managing at this level. So I have to think that conversation, probably Patrick Schick wasn't all that happy with it, but maybe walked out of that room saying, I'll get an opportunity to play this weekend. And the only thing that you can control as a player is that when you get an opportunity to play, that you're productive. He was productive today.
And I feel that when it comes to the title race, they're obviously getting asked there, will you be watching Bayern this weekend? And they're all talking about, obviously the title race is still on. Of course they're going to say that. But surely they'll be watching Bayern extra closely because of that Champions League fixture that's coming up.
I mean, I think they've seen enough of Bayern and playing against Bayern, and they have seen the difference in how the games go between being conservative, defensive, absorbing pressure, and allowing Bayern to take the initiative in the game, and how different it is when they've actually made the decision, as they did last weekend, that we're going to press Bayern Munich, that we're going to get after Bayern Munich, and how vulnerable Bayern Munich looked when they were able to do that. That would be my approach if I were Xabi Alonso, but then again, him and I have not seen at this team from the same angle at any point this season. When I ask him to be more aggressive, he seems to be conservative. When I ask him to be more conservative, he seems to be more aggressive. So no clue what's going to happen. I know what I saw last weekend, and what I saw is Leverkusen being dominant. As for the players, I would love for the players to, once they ask the question, as if they're going to watch Bayern Munich or not, they say, no, actually, no. Sunday, I'm going to be with my family. I'm going to sit back, relax, have a barbecue, and forget about all this because this is my time off. I'll see you guys on Monday. But, of course, that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. And we will not be doing that tomorrow either, because we will be back here in the studio, because it is Bayern Munich taking on Eintracht Frankfurt. We will be with you to bring you all the build-up to that game